Oh, I'll tell you, that guy that decided to try and get a reaction of old Jake Kelce probably needed a new pair of underwear after Jason Kelce turned around and decided.
You think he had Apple Care?
Well, listen, he was making light of I don't know. Is he trying to sue now? Is that correct? The person that let's explain the situation first for those that don't know what's going on.
Okay, so if you're on the video version of the show, I'm going to put every piece of video on TikTok that I can find. But long story short, Jason Kelce, he played for the Philadelphia Eagles for about 12 years. Super Bowl champ, Pro Bowler, all-time, one of the greatest centers I think to ever play the game. He won against Tom Brady and the Patriots in 2017. But so he's doing an event, Penn State University. He's just walking down the street. He's got a sweet fit. He's got the khakis.
He's on his way to the game. He was on the way to the game. He's going to go watch the game. He was just a patron. That's it. He was just walking like a normal dude.
I loved how he was walking with his case of beer, crushing one. That was awesome.
Well, listen, you're not allowed to drink inside those stadiums. You got to tailgate outside. I mean, he's retired now. Good for him. Go get some, son.
That's true. But so he's walking down the street. He also has no security, which I was kind of amazed by. But then there's one little punk. He's probably 18 years old, if that, 5'8", 140 pounds, walking behind this 6'3", 300-pound center, this monster, whips out his phone and starts yelling at him and says, "Hey, you're a jive turkey. Your brother's a jive turkey for dating Taylor Swift." And he yelled that a few times. And then Jason Kelce turned around and said, "Oh," grabbed his phone and smashed that thing to smithereens right in the pavement. And also, I love, because everybody else was filming around the area, the look on this kid's face where he's like, "Oh, my phone, you smashed my phone." "Yeah, I smashed your phone." And then he gets in the kid's face and is like, "Who's the jive turkey now?"
That's the, this culture of I have a phone in front of my face, so I am immune to anything, and like people are treating it like a force field now. Like I have a phone. Listen, if you're looking for a reaction, which I think that's what the kid was looking for. He was looking for a reaction. You got one. It may not be the one that you wanted, but it's probably the one you deserved. Even the mayor sent out a tweet saying, "I probably shouldn't be saying this, but good for you, Jason Kelce." And Jason Kelce went on ESPN Monday Night Football because he was on the pregame panel, and he took 45 seconds and he said, "I'm not proud of myself for the way I acted. I met hate with hate, and that's not the way I should do it. I always live by the golden rule of treat others the way you want to be treated." And he goes, "I'm going to move forward and try and do better." And so I appreciate him saying that. But I think Jason Kelce had a level of fame when he was playing football. And that's where he kind of lived for the past 12 years, as he said, when he was playing with the Eagles. And it was nothing but love when you were at home, a little bit of stuff when you were on the road from opposing fans, but it was all within the realm of sport. He and his brother do a very successful podcast now called the New Heights Podcast, which is named after their old high school. And the fact that his brother, Travis Kelce, who's a tight end, number 87 with the Kansas City Chiefs, is dating, great name for the podcast. The fact that he's dating Taylor Swift, I think, doesn't have everything to do with the success of their podcast, but a lot of new eyes and ears came to that podcast because of the relationship that Travis has with Taylor Swift. I don't think that Jason was necessarily prepared for this, but I think he knows now that people are going to come at him for all different types of things, and they're going to try and get to him however they can. And I think he had a moment of, I don't want to say weakness, but he didn't know how to handle that. And he went back to that football player mentality of, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, going to teach this kid a lesson. He regrets doing it. I don't blame him for doing it. Everything about that was wrong. But now the fact that, good old USA, the fact that this kid now is turning around and suing him, I think is a little ridiculous. I think he should just STFU, take the L, maybe ask for some money to buy a new phone, and call it a wash.
I don't know if you feel the same way. I respect him for what he did, though, because for me...
Which one, the kid or Jason?
No, Jason. I'm talking about Jason.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Forget about the kid. Like, if anybody wants to talk smack to my face about me, I don't really care. It's water off a duck's back, right? But if you talk that way about my family or my co-host or my podcast, and you saw it last week when we were in Toledo, you better be ready for some smoke. You don't talk about my family or people that I care about that way. So if you're going to talk that way to him about his brother, whether you agree with his brother, he has a great name, by the way, I respect it. He stood up for his family. He stood up for what was right.
Well, look, kind of similar to what I said last week about Connor McDavid when he admitted that he was afraid of ketchup, which still psychologically I think is hilarious. People now know what his trigger is, and Jason Kelce is going to have to get over that real quick, because if he wants to continue, and there's a big wide door open for him right now, huge door that's open for him right now, because he's now out of the league, very successful podcast, he is a household name now. I mean, the sky is the limit. If he ever wanted to do anything beyond football, the podcast and everything else, the sky is the limit. But now that somebody knows what his Achilles heel is, that could be detrimental. Now, whether he wants to do anything or not, if he wants to keep climbing in the ranks of celebrity, then things like that have to go by the wayside. He either has to start getting personal security, or he has to tighten up a little bit. And that's not a criticism. That's just plain old advice. Because if somebody comes at him again like that, going, hey, you see what that thing? Go ahead and call his brother that thing, because we'll get a reaction out of him. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of these people carry these phones around. They're looking for that viral moment. Like, Big Brother is everywhere now. And if he's going, I mean, I think society will let him get away with this once. And even when I say, a lot of people are standing up for him saying, hey, he did the right thing.
He's on NBC, though. He's on the NBC football, and they just made a statement before we started recording. We don't have the full update yet, but they said we've made a decision on what we're going to be doing moving forward. So do they fire him? Do they keep him on? So that'll be interesting to see what they do.
Well, that's ESPN, which is ESPN, which is part of the Disney umbrella. Don't forget, like, Disney is the top dog when it comes to ESPN and all the way down through ABC Sports. So again, that's a huge door that's open for him. Huge door. So if they kind of shove this one under the rug and say, don't do it again, then he's really got to tighten up. Not saying what he did was wrong, but if he wants to continue that kind of behavior, when people act like that towards him, he can't act the way he did. He can't be that big bruising guy anymore. He's got to come in with a softer touch, and he's got to be a little more even keel and level-headed about that kind of stuff. I know it sucks, because the rest of us would have done the exact same thing, but he's not just anybody anymore.
I don't hate the idea of personal security, but I don't mind the idea either of make bullying great again 2025. Like, it's
the old F around and find out, right? And kid found out the hard way, and now unfortunately Jason Kelce's finding out the hard way that unfortunately that old school mentality of, I'm going to meet fire with fire doesn't necessarily work anymore if he wants to keep climbing. I mean, if he wants to do that again, he could, but that door is going to get shut very quickly.
I still just want to know, does the kid have Apple Care or not? Imagine he turns up to the Apple store and is like, let's get my phone fit. You're that kid. That Jason Kelce. Yeah, he did that to my phone.
Let me check the fine print. Sorry, you didn't have Jason Kelce insurance on this one. Sorry.
Super Bowl champion, Pro Bowl All-Star? Yeah, sorry, dude. This doesn't cover it.
Don't let them see you sweat, because once they find a chink in the armor, then they go, oh, okay, that's how we get to them. At this point in my career, really hard to hurt my feelings. I've been through a lot through my career, and people have said some pretty awful things about me, my family, and whatnot. And all that stuff was really, really hard. So I can understand. I really, truly can understand.
Well, you're probably the most famous Canadian radio firing in history, no?
Well, listen, it's not something I thought I would have on my bingo card in my lifetime, but here I am. Jason Kelce, there was a great commercial once upon a time, this little kid, and it's just, the camera's inside of this little kid, and he's acting like a bully, right? Like, oh, yeah, pretending to push and stuff, and the camera pounds out, and he's by himself. And the idea was, like, bullies look pretty stupid when they have nobody to bully. So if you give them what they want, then they win, right? It's the agitator. Don't give the agitator what they want. Then they just look stupid, right? So, I mean, I think if Jason would have kept walking and just turned around and said, hey, bud, enjoy the game. Thanks so much, then we wouldn't even be talking about this right now. It's unfortunate. Again, I have all the empathy in the world for Jason Kelce. I think the kid was just being a stupid kid, and I hope he got a talking to by his parents when he got home for A, using that kind of language, B, picking on somebody like that. I don't think it was the right call, but hey, you're at a sporting event. Things happen.
Let us know in the comment section below. What do you think?
Hey, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button. We do a new podcast every single Sunday during the season called Sling the Biscuit. It is a non-mainstream hockey podcast, so we talk about my hockey career, the minor pros, Spain, the Fed, you name it, all the stuff that you won't hear in the mainstream news.
Music,
pop culture,
politics, a little bit.
Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you soon.